Hey gang, it's JC, and this is the Daily Dose for Thursday, February 10th, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. Archives top of the page, eye candy along the bottom. We have an eye candy today that is so amazing, you're going to probably end up sending this to everybody you know. We'll get to that in just a little bit. You know, the other day on the air on the Big 550 KTRS with Trisha and I, Trish Gazelle, Trisha's trash, all that sort of stuff. We're on the Big 550 KTRS every day from 10 until 1 o'clock. And I mentioned the fact that I was not in favor of the Albert Pujols deal, and people seemed very surprised by this. I love Albert. Fun to watch. I like what he does in the community. Drives me nuts with the God stuff, but, you take the bad with the good. But, no, he's a fabulous ball player, and it would be very, very depressing, frankly, to see him end up in Chicago. And by the way, that's where he'd end up. He'd end up with the Cubs if he's not able to reach a deal with the Cardinals. But the issue is not Albert's relative worth. The issue is Albert's relative worth over 10 years. The rumor is, and it's more than a rumor really, that Albert wants a 10-year deal. Well, first of all, Albert lists his age at 31. I'll come back to that. There won't be anybody around who is pushing for this deal right now. 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years into this deal when Albert is hitting 190. To say, oh, well, I didn't really want this deal. I was against it too. Because that's not what people are saying right now. They just want the deal done for the instant gratification. You've got to have a sobering look at this whole thing. And 10-year deals are bad for anybody in any sport. And Albert is a very, very unique individual. I'll grant you that. But we have another issue here too. I was at spring training 11 years ago when Albert came up. Albert was supposed to go to AAA that year because you might recall Bobby Bonilla was going to be our opening day third baseman. And Bonilla blew out his hamstring, I think it was, about a week before spring training broke camp and headed north. And Albert was supposed to go to AAA. He was not going to make the team that year. And that's sort of disputed, but I've got that on very good authority. And everything I remember hearing when we were down there, I was standing right next to the guy. Because I had people back home in St. Louis going, tell me about this Pujols guy. I know you're down in spring training. What are you seeing about this guy Pujols? I was like, well, the guy is built like a bull. But the thing about it is, Albert's not 31 years old right now. A lot of these Dominican, Hispanic ball players, their birth records are, shall we say, a little fuzzy. Anybody remember a guy with the Cardinals about 15 years ago, a pitcher by the name of Rene Arocha? They had him listed on the roster as 27 years old. This guy was 45 if he was a day. The guy had graying temples and prostate trouble, okay? So, you have, on one hand, 10-year deals just in general are bad deals. They're not good. But then you have the issue of Albert listing his age as 31 right now. I just don't think he's 31. So this is a bad deal. So if Albert wants to do a 6 or a 7, maybe even an 8-year deal, maybe I go for that. We already know the money is going to be off the scales, but a 10-year deal, this is just too much. So I'm against it, and that's that. We have another announcement to make here today on the Daily Dose here at jcontheline.com. The lovely and talented Laurie Mack is going to be reunited with yours truly beginning Monday morning. We have Eric Mink on Tuesday, we have the ladies on Wednesday, Joe Marlotti on Thursday, Smash on Friday. All of this in the 11 o'clock hour on the Big 550 KTRS. But we've had Mondays open, and so Laurie Mack is going to take that Monday slot, and that begins this Monday, and we're very, very excited about that. Our big Valentine's Day contest coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. Smash is going to help with that on Friday morning. And we're going to be doing our Valentine's Day show on Monday. And then on Tuesday, yet another announcement. Tuesday is the day that Stan Musial is going to get that presidential proclamation in the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. Well, number one, we're going to be carrying that ceremony live on the air on the Big 550 KTRS. But also, we're going to be doing our show, and it's going to be a tribute show to Stan live from Lester's in Ladue on Clayton Road, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday, and then we'll join the ceremony at 12:30 and carry it live. But we're going to have guests and all sorts of great old sound bites and clips and things in tribute to Stan the Man. So that's going to be a special show, and you can come on into Lester's. They got a couple of locations. Make sure you go to the right one. This is the one in Ladue on Clayton Road, and we'll be there from 10 until 1 and carrying the ceremony starting at 12:30. That is on Tuesday. And we got some great old clips, some things I can almost guarantee you've never heard before. So it's a great tribute show to Stan. And again, that is Tuesday morning. Lindsay Lohan, man, I thought they were going to just haul her away yesterday. She in a heap of trouble. Anderson Cooper is interviewing Lady Gaga on 60 Minutes. That sounds like a fit, by the way. And that's right before the Grammy Awards show. Now, on Friday's edition of the show, Graham, on KTRS, we're having Ken Ehrlich, the executive producer of the Grammys for like the last 30 years. And that should be a fun conversation. Speaking of music, how about this kid last night on American Idol? Oh my God, he's like Adam Lambert reincarnated, and in some ways better than Adam Lambert. The kid has a Tourette's, and all I could think of is what an amazing singer. I mean, this guy blew the doors off the dump last night. But I keep thinking to myself, that show, when they moved to Hollywood, that show is live. What do you do as a producer of American Idol when you got a kid up on stage with Tourette's and you're doing live TV? There's your question of the day. All right, Norm Macdonald, who for a lot of years did Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live and did it in a way that I don't think has ever been done before, is getting his own TV show on Comedy Central. It's called Sports Show with Norm Macdonald, and it's what it sounds like. He's going to be talking sports. It's going to be funny. Naturally, production starts this month, first episode in April, and they say it's going to be different than some of these other sort of like sports parody shows and things that are already on. How about this guy, this Chris Lee, Republican congressman from Western New York, who's sending out shirtless pictures of himself. Wow. Then we got another Republican state representative in Tennessee that says she credits her political success to her time working at Hooters. She was a Hooters girl. Julia Hurley says that she knows that without that time in her life, she's hot, though. It's pretty cool. And city leaders in Fort Wayne, which is a city that I spent a little chunk of my career back in the late 1970s. And it was one of the most pivotal times in my life and in my career. And I could tell you an hour and a half full of stories about my years in Fort Wayne. But anyhow, the people in Fort Wayne, the sort of founding fathers, are refusing to name a new government building after one of the city's longest tenured and most beloved former mayors, because his name is Harry Balls. And it's spelled Harry Balls. There's a huge movement now online to give proper due, but the city is not budging. Watch this space. And here's the sign of the times. Identity theft is way down. You know why? Because the bad guys who are trying to steal your identity can't find enough people that have decent credit scores and whose identity is worth stealing. That's amazing. Super Bowl. It just seems like Super Bowl's over and you figure Monday you'll talk about the commercials, that'll be it, and you sort of focus on spring training. It's not the case, because people are still talking about various things, like the 4 Navy jets that did the fly over the stadium in Dallas at the start of the game. Well, the retractable roof was closed, so you flew over there and it's like nobody saw it unless you were standing outside. And by the way, it cost the taxpayers $450,000. The roof was closed. And one more Super Bowl note. I told you, they just keep coming. Bill O'Reilly had a 15-minute interview with the president at about 2:45 on Sunday afternoon, part of the massive Super Bowl pregame show. 15-minute interview. O'Reilly interrupted the president 48 times. Dumbass. Oh, God. It was on this date in 1995 that the album After the Lovin' by Engelbert Humperdinck was certified platinum. And I say this because I've done karaoke once in my life. It was about 10 years ago. And it was the night before Thanksgiving, and a bunch of the people from the radio station were going out, and we went to Johnny Gito's down in South City right by Ted Drew's. And I got a little liquored up, and I had never done karaoke before. I've never done it since. And I picked out the song After the Lovin', and I was so nervous about doing it that they had the monitor on the floor, and so I was just singing, but I was looking down at the monitor the whole time because I was afraid I was going to mess up and people were going to laugh at me. And I was just looking down, I never looked up once, I just looked down. But I got to the final line of After the Lovin' by Engelbert Humperdinck, And I looked up, and there were like 70 people dancing, slow dancing to my singing. It was like the freakiest experience of my life. I will never do it again. It was like never mind. It was freaky. All right, I told you about this eye candy feature today. There's this walk-on quarterback at UConn, and this thing's about a 4-minute video of him doing trick shots with a football. Now, some of the stuff is like on a basketball court. Some of it is an indoor practice facility. Some of it is outside. I can almost guarantee you that you're going to send this to everybody you know. This kid is amazing. And while some of the shots, I'm sure they didn't do on the first take, I don't care. It's still amazing. This guy's unbelievable. And a couple of the shots, there are multiple shots, and it doesn't matter how many takes they did. It's still amazing. Even if it took 50 takes, it's still amazing what this guy did. So you got to see this. It's on eye candy right here along the bottom strip. And this walk-on quarterback at UConn, absolutely just startling what this guy does. So that's it. JC's Daily Dose for Thursday, February 10th, 2011, a combined venture with Mind Active in beautiful downtown Brentwood. We're on the air every day from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon on the Big 550 KTRS, along with Trish, Gazelle, and the carousel of co-hosts. In the meantime, we've beaten this one to death. Have a good one. See you later. Bye.